Question 1. From a practical standpoint, how should Torres, a newly promoted HR director at a mid-sized manufacturing firm, prioritize HR initiatives to maximize strategic alignment with business outcomes? The company recently expanded into new international markets and is facing pressures to reduce operational costs. The EO expects HR to support these changes with initiatives that provide measurable ROI. Torres wants to propose an HR strategy for the next fiscal year. However, the executive team is skeptical of HR's ability to influence revenue. What should Torres do first to gain support and demonstrate HR's strategic value? A. Conduct benchmarking study of HR practices in similar organizations and propose mirroring their structures. B. Focus on cost-cutting measures in HR such as outsourcing and benefits reduction to immediately show savings. C. Align HR initiatives with business objectives by analyzing key operational metrics and workforce data. D. Organize an employee engagement event to improve morale before proposing any strategic plans. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. To demonstrate strategic value, Torres must align HR strategy with organizational goals, particularly by analyzing business metrics such as productivity, retention, and workforce costs. This supports SRM's business acumen competency and aligns with the SHRM book, which emphasizes using data-informed decisions to drive outcomes. Options and B focus on reactive measures without demonstrating value alignment. Option D, while morale boosting, lacks the strategic linkage needed to influence executive perception. The correct approach integrates HR analytics with business needs to support revenue growth and cost optimization. Critical to gaining executive buy-in. Question 2. Given the circumstances, Mr. Elamin, an HR manager, is managing a complaint from an employee alleging retaliation after reporting a harassment incident involving a senior leader. The employee claims their work responsibilities were significantly reduced and they were transferred to a less visible role following their complaint. There is no documented performance issue. What is the most appropriate first step Mr. Elamin should take? A. Launch a full-scale investigation into the senior leader's behavior and prior complaints. B. Immediately reverse the employee's job reassignment without consulting leadership. C. Conduct neutral fact-finding investigation focused on the retaliation claim. D. Advise the employee to file complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission (EOC). Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Under Title IX of the Civil Rights Act and EOC guidelines, retaliation is illegal even if the original harassment claim isn't substantiated. Mr. Elamin must conduct neutral internal investigation into the retaliation allegation following fair procedures. Option is premature. Prior misconduct is irrelevant at this stage. Option B could violate due process. Option D may be appropriate later, but bypasses internal resolution mechanisms, which should be prioritized first according to best practice in internal dispute resolution frameworks. Question 3. The central argument for including HR in enterprise-wide strategic discussions is most supported by which of the following principles? A. HR can influence organizational culture but not strategic outcomes. B. Business leaders generally prefer HR to focus on administrative tasks. C. Strategic integration of HR ensures alignment of talent with business objectives. D. HR should operate independently to preserve neutrality in personnel issues. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. According to SHRM's leadership and navigation competency and the URAT HR model, integrating HR in strategic planning allows the function to align talent, leadership development, and workforce planning with enterprise-wide goals. HR is not merely administrative but driver of value creation. Options and B reflect outdated perceptions. Option D misunderstands the strategic partner role HR must play. Strategic HR leaders facilitate alignment between human capital investments and organizational outcomes. Question 4. During the process of analyzing exit interview data, Loon discovers a trend of voluntary resignations among mid-career professionals, citing a lack of upward mobility. The company has a mentorship program, but participation is low and promotion rates have stagnated. What is the most effective method Loon can use to validate and respond to this trend? A. Recommend terminating the mentorship program and replacing it with external coaching. B. Propose cross-functional task force to interpret the data qualitatively. C. Conduct regression analysis to test correlation between promotion rates and engagement scores. D. Disregard the exit interviews as anecdotal and focus only on performance metrics. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Using statistical tools like regression analysis enables evidence-based decision-making, a key aspect of ARM's critical evaluation competency. It allows Loon to quantify relationships between employee perceptions and actual outcomes, making a stronger business case for interventions. Option A is reactive without data validation. Option B might be useful later, but lacks the rigor of quantitative analysis. Option D ignores a critical source of feedback. Using analytics supports data-driven workforce strategies essential at the SCP level. Question 5. In what ways can HR ensure internal equity and market competitiveness in total reward strategy during an economic downturn? A. Implements salary freezes across all levels to maintain internal equity. B. Conduct a compensation analysis using external benchmarking and internal job evaluations. C. Defer incentive programs until profitability improves, then review base salaries. D. Use a uniform cost of living increase for all employees regardless of role or region. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Internal equity and external competitiveness are best ensured by combining market benchmarking, e.g. using surveys from World at Work or Mercer and job evaluations, e.g. point factor systems. This aligns with SHRM's total rewards best practices and ensures defensible, equitable pay structures. Option may create disengagement. Option C delays necessary structural review. Option D ignores role-based variations and geographic cost considerations. The correct approach supports legal compliance, e.g. Equal Pay Act, and promotes fairness during constrained budgets. Question 6. To illustrate this point, Ista Jensen, the Crow of a global logistics firm, is leading the transition to a new human capital management system, HCMS. The executive team expects improved reporting, but many frontline HR staff express resistance due to limited digital literacy. The rollout is scheduled in 3 months. What is Ista Jensen's best strategy to ensure adoption and effectiveness? A. Delay the rollout until all staff complete mandatory certifications. B. Focus solely on leadership-level reporting while excluding operational users initially. C. Implement phased change management plan with role-based training and real-time support. D. Outsource all reporting functions to external vendors to reduce internal friction. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. This situation calls for change management and upskilling, both core to HR technology implementation best practices. According to Proskized car model, success requires awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. Phased rollouts and targeted training build competence and reduce resistance. Option causes delays. Option B excludes key users. Option D removes strategic insight from internal SHRM, emphasize HR's role in ensuring technology is used to enhance, not replace, strategic HR functions. Question 7. As evidenced by company climate survey data, Black and Latinx employees report lower engagement scores, citing exclusion from leadership development opportunities. Ibrahim, the VP of DI, is tasked with addressing this perception gap and promoting inclusion. What initiative is most likely to yield sustainable improvement? A. Mandate unconscious bias training for all people leaders. B. Set diversity quotas in executive hiring to ensure immediate representation. C. Create transparent, criteria-based development programs with active sponsorship. D. Increase cultural celebration events across all office locations. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Sustainable DI change requires systemic equity, including fair access to development and promotion. SRM supports sponsor-based leadership pipelines that eliminate informal gatekeeping, while training and events D are important. They're insufficient alone. Quotas B may violate local labor laws and provoke backlash. Programs that are transparent and anchored in data and leadership accountability lead real structural change, which is central to the SRM DI capability model. Question 8. When evaluating the merits of remote work, ISCHEN, head of HR compliance, is asked to review whether their flexible work program increases risk exposure. Our organization handles sensitive client financial data and operates in multiple jurisdictions with varying privacy laws. What is ISCHEN's most critical compliance consideration? A. Whether managers are monitoring work hours effectively in remote teams. B. Whether local labor laws restrict flexible work arrangements. C. Whether remote access systems meet jurisdictional data privacy requirements. D. Whether employees prefer hybrid over fully remote work arrangements. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. The primary compliance concern is data privacy and security, especially when dealing with cross-border personal data. Jurisdictions like the Agedia and California, SHRM, impose strict requirements on data storage and access. ISCHEN must evaluate encryption, access controls, and data governance frameworks, while labor laws, B, and monitoring, A, matter. Data protection is the highest legal risk in this context. SHRM guidelines emphasize ensuring legal compliance in remote work design. Question 9. The evolution of organizational design theory suggests that HR should play what role in enterprise transformation efforts? A. Administer employee communications after leadership sets the transformation plan. B. Develop and collate organizational redesign initiatives tied to strategic goals. C. Conduct individual skills training programs to support daily operations. D. Ensure payroll and administrative processes function during transitions. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. HR's role has shifted from administrator to strategic change partner. According to McKinsey's 7S model that SHRM strategic frameworks, HR must help design structures, processes, and roles aligned with business transformation. Admin tasks A, D, and training C are tactical, not strategic. Effective HR leaders must enable change agility, develop adaptive capabilities, and measure impact of redesigns on performance and engagement. Question 10. Among the various challenges faced by HR leaders in multinational corporations, which best illustrates the need for a global mindset? A. Developing a compensation strategy that rewards innovation. B. Coordinating leadership development programs across regions with different cultural norms. C. Auditing leave accrual policies across multiple U.S. states. D. Streamlining payroll processes using a single HCMS provider. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. A global mindset means being able to navigate diverse cultural expectations, legal systems, and leadership styles. Coordinating development across countries requires deep understanding of cultural intelligence, CQ, and adaptation. Option A is general. Option C is US specific. Option D is operational, not strategic. SHRM emphasizes the global mindset competency as essential to effectively lead cross-border HR strategy and ensure cultural alignment. Question 11. Taking into account a recent merger between two financial firms, Eastern UN, the VP HR is tasked with integrating the HR functions of both organizations within 90 days. Each company has vastly different cultures, compensation philosophies, and performance management systems. Eastern UN is under pressure to retain top talent, minimize disruptions, and create alignment across the new enterprise. What should be Eastern UN's first strategic priority during the HR integration process? A. Develop communication strategy that outlines consistent HR messaging across both firms. B. Freeze all promotions and compensation decisions until full integration is complete. C. Focus on harmonizing technology platforms to streamline HR operations. D. Conduct cultural assessment and stakeholder analysis to align future state HR strategy. Answer. Correct answer. D. Explanation. In strategic HR planning post-merger, the first step is assessing organizational culture and stakeholder priorities, which ensures future alignment of HR strategies with business goals. According to SHRM's integration guidelines, cultural misalignment is a top cause of failed integrations. Communication A is essential but not first. Freezing decisions B risks talent flight. Technology supports operations but doesn't address strategic alignment. Cultural due diligence informs talent strategy, org design, and change management. Question 12. While examining communication gaps in cross-functional teams, SHRM notices that project delays are frequently due to misunderstood role expectations and missed deadlines. Team leads blame poor collaboration, and employee engagement scores indicate frustration with unclear priorities. What strategy would best improve communication effectiveness in this situation? A. Schedule recurring one-on-one meetings between managers and employees to improve trust. B. Roll out a mandatory conflict resolution training module for all staff. C. Implement a collaborative digital workflow system with defined responsibilities and accountability. D. Create a suggestion box to allow anonymous feedback on team issues. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Effective communication structures, especially in project-based environments, must clarify roles and enhance transparency. A workflow system. E. HRConquer model embedded in tools like Asana or MS Teams aligns with SHRM's communication competency. Clarity, accountability, and consistency. One-on-ones improve relationships but not structural clarity. Conflict training. B is reactive. Suggest boxes. D. Lack two-way communication. Strategic communication must facilitate collaborative action, not just feedback. Question 13. With the advent of workforce analytics dashboards, Mr. Patel's HR team now has access to real-time data on productivity, overtime, and absenteeism. The company is facing overstaffing in some departments and critical shortages in others. Leadership expects rapid optimization of the workforce without compromising morale. Which course of action best aligns with strategic workforce management principles? A. Launch voluntary separation program and reassign work using internal mobility tools. B. Immediately freeze hiring in overstaffed units and outsource under-resourced tasks. C. Recommend layoffs in overstaffed areas and expand overtime in critical teams. D. Initiate an employee survey to gather feedback before making data-driven decisions. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Strategic workforce planning involves balancing demand and supply of labor while preserving engagement and brand reputation. Voluntary separation plus internal mobility supports agility, minimizes risk, and aligns with SHRM's workforce planning guidelines. Option B is reactive and may demoralize teams. Layoffs. C. Should be last resort. Surveys. D. May delay necessary action. The correct response integrates analytics with sustainable workforce solutions. Question 14. Under the assumption that confidentiality is breached, Mr. O'Malley discovers that an HR assistant leaked sensitive disciplinary information to colleague. The leak violated both company policy and employee trust. The assistant claims it was slip in conversation and was not intentional. What should Mr. O'Malley do next in line with SHRM's ethical practice guidelines? Issue formal written warning and refer the assistant to ethics training. B. Terminate the assistant immediately to preserve HR credibility. C. Review the incident thoroughly and determine consequences based on intent and impact. D. Reassign the assistant to non-confidential administrative function. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Ethical HR practice requires due process, proportionality, and consistency. SHRM's Code of Ethical and Professional Standards emphasizes the need to evaluate both intent and impact before deciding on discipline. Termination. B. May be excessive if not all facts are known. Warning. A. May be insufficient. Reassignment. D. Is premature. Thorough review supports accountability while upholding procedure. Question 15. Focusing specifically on talent pipeline concerns, Isgao, the head of LD, is asked to enhance leadership readiness across business units. However, her analysis shows that high-potential employees often leave after completing development programs, citing lack of visible progression. What should Isgao implement to increase retention of developed talent? A. Develop succession planning pathways with measurable leadership milestones. B. Increase the training budget to attract external facilitators with better content. C. Introduce mandatory retention agreements tied to program participation. D. Reduce program size to focus only on C-suite successors. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Effective LD is tied to career development, visibility, and succession planning, not just training delivery. SRA Eckermann's strategic LD integration with organizational planning, retention agreements. C. Risk resentment. Content upgrades. B. Don't address structural retention issues, narrowing the program. D. Limits organizational readiness. Talent development must be aligned with clear, goal-linked career progression, which drives engagement and retention. Question 16. Research indicates that in organizations with weak middle management engagement, overall employee satisfaction drops significantly. Exceeded grouping, exit interview trends show disengagement among mid-level managers who feel excluded from decision-making and unsupported in their roles. Which initiative is most likely to improve engagement and reduce turnover? Introduce peer recognition programs focused on frontline contributions. B. Facilitate middle manager roundtables for cross-departmental idea sharing and influence. C. Provide stress management resources to mid-level managers. D. Increase quarterly performance reviews for middle managers. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Engagement, especially at mid-management level, improves when individuals feel influential and heard. SHRM's engagement and retention framework emphasizes inclusion, autonomy, and visibility. Peer recognition A is frontline focused. Stress resources C are supportive but not empowering. More performance reviews D can feel punitive. Enabling shared leadership and strategic input helps reinforce commitment and ownership. Question 17. By evaluating recent hiring metrics, Peralta finds that diversity among new hires has stagnated despite increased outreach to underrepresented groups. Our organization uses structured interviews and blind resume reviews. However, final hiring decisions are made by business leaders with little accountability for DI outcomes. What should Peralta recommend? A. Implement post-hire audits to assess bias in hiring outcomes. B. Replace structured interviews with panel-based unstructured interviews. C. Make DI metrics part of hiring managers' performance goals. D. Eliminate blind resume reviews to improve cultural fit evaluation. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Accountability is crucial in driving DI results. AR recommends tying inclusive hiring outcomes to manager KPIs, reinforcing shared responsibility. Blind reviews. D. Reduce bias, not worsen it. Audits they are helpful but don't address root accountability. Panel interviews B may reintroduce objective bias. Behavioral change stems from aligned incentives. PRMDI best practices. Question 18. Contrary to popular belief, not all HR consultations are reactive. Mr. Thomas is leading a consultation with finance leaders to co-create a workforce plan tied to upcoming capital investments. This includes future roles, required skills, and leadership development pathways. Which consultation method is most strategic in this situation? A. Gather feedback through anonymous surveys and compile a report. B. Co-facilitate strategy workshops to collaboratively model workforce scenarios. C. Share standard HR solutions and allow finance to choose their preferred option. D. Conduct exit interviews to determine past hiring mistakes. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. SHRM identifies collaborative consultation as key to strategic HR. Scenario planning workshops allow cross-functional alignment and co-creation of business-informed solutions. Surveys A are passive, offering pre-built solutions. C. Limits engagement. Exit interviews. D. Are retrospective. Strategic consultation fosters proactive, data-driven planning with stakeholders. Question 19. The effectiveness of CSR programs is best measured by which of the following HR-driven outcomes? A. Employee participation rates in volunteer initiatives. B. Positive brand mentions on social media. C. Alignment between CSR programs and talent engagement or retention outcomes. D. The number of sustainability partners the company supports. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Effective CSR is integrated into employee value propositions and drives measurable workforce outcomes such as engagement, retention, and culture. SRM's CSR guidance highlights the importance of aligning ethics and social responsibility with HR metrics. Participation rates A and mentions B are indicators but not impact metrics. Partnerships D don't indicate effectiveness. Strategic CSR is embedded in business and workforce strategy. Question 20. From multiple perspectives, managing expatriate assignments poses complex challenges. Is Nakamura, a global HR director, is reviewing failed overseas assignments and notes that many expats return early due to poor family adjustment. What strategic change should she prioritize? A. Increase base salary to improve perceived value of the assignment. B. Provide pre-departure training only to the employee, not the family. C. Introduce holistic assignment preparation, including cultural training for families. D. Eliminate low ROI assignments and prioritize short-term business travel. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. SHRM Global HR best practices emphasize family readiness and support as a primary success factor in expatriate assignments. Cultural training for families reduces adjustment friction and improves completion rates. Compensation alone doesn't resolve adaptation issues. Excluding family B is short-sighted. Canceling assignments D may miss strategic opportunities. Global HR must address professional and personal readiness. Question 21. In light of recent developments surrounding employee activism, is Reynolds the Crow, a multinational retailer, is reviewing the company's approach to workplace protests and social expression. Group of employees plans to stage walkout in protest of the company's environmental policies. Senior executives want to discipline the employees for organizing during work hours, but is Reynolds is concerned about legal exposure and reputational risk. Is the most appropriate recommendation for is Reynolds to make A. Permit the protest, but document all participants in case of future policy violations. B. Engage the employees beforehand and offer structured internal forum for dialogue. C. Enforce disciplinary policy uniformly without exception to maintain order. D. Temporarily suspend protest leaders until the company completes legal review. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. According to LRA Section 7, employees in the U.S. have protected rights to engage in concerted activity, including protest on workplace issues. A most strategic and legally compliant response is to engage employees proactively. Providing a structured forum fosters transparency, reduces risk, and demonstrates ethical practice. Aligned with SHRM's ethical practice and risk management competencies, punitive or preemptive actions, C.D. may violate federal labor law and reputational harm. Question 22. The growing trend in HR analytics shows that organizations using predictive talent modeling have higher productivity and retention. Mr. Donovan, an HR strategist, wants to convince the CFO to invest in a predictive analytics platform. The CFO is skeptical and views HR as cost-centered rather than value-generating. What is the most compelling argument Mr. Donovan can make? A. Predictive models improve HR department efficiency and reduce workload. B. Analytics can forecast talent risks that may disrupt business continuity. C. HR systems are overdue for upgrades compared to other departments. D. Investing in analytics will reduce the need for external HR consultants. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. To demonstrate business value, Mr. Donovan must tie HR analytics to core business outcomes such as continuity, productivity, and risk mitigation. Predictive models can identify talent gaps that could derail operations. Key concern for the SHRM's business acumen competency stresses translating HR insights into financial and operational language. Other options are valid, but less impactful for C-suite alignment. CFOS prioritize risk and ROI, not internal workload. Question 23. From a historical standpoint, organizations that fail to localize HR practices often struggle with global expansion. At Polaristek, the U.S. based Seoul's firm entering the Indian and Brazilian markets, Kim is designing compensation and performance structures for regional offices. Senior leadership insists on applying U.S. standards to maintain consistency. What is Kim's best course of action? A. Adapt total rewards and performance management practices to reflect local cultural and legal norms. B. Centralize all HR policies under U.S. headquarters for consistency and control. C. Retain U.S. salary bands but increase non-cash perks in local regions. D. Conduct mandatory U.S. style performance appraisals for all locations. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Global HR success requires local responsiveness. SHRM's global mindset competency emphasizes adapting practices to cultural, regulatory, and economic environments. Uniform US approach risks compliance issues, disengagement, and talent loss. Option aligns with international HR best practices, including Globe Study Insights. Other options reflect ethnocentric strategies, which often backfire in global settings. Question 24. As demonstrated by internal metrics, HR at Atlas Corp is perceived as reactive and siloed. Mr. Delgado, the new VP of HR, wants to shift the function into a more strategic business partner role. What should be his first strategic move? A. Eliminate administrative HR tasks by outsourcing payroll and compliance. B. Embed HR business partner EPs in business units with peer accountability. C. Centralize all HR decision-making to enforce standards and compliance. D. Conduct focus groups with employees to gather feedback about HR services. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Embed EPs below HR to support business leaders directly and contribute to strategy execution. This transformation reflects the Ulrich model of strategic HR and is supported by SHRM's guidelines on functional alignment. Outsourcing admin may help efficiency but doesn't address the strategic gap. Centralization C can reinforce bureaucracy. Focus groups D may provide insight but not transformational in structure. Question 25. When considering enterprise transformation, is Dorsey's guiding a shift from a hierarchical structure to a matrix model? Employees express confusion over dual reporting lines, unclear priorities, and competing manager expectations. What should Dorsey prioritize to ensure effectiveness of the new structure? A. Train employees on navigating organizational politics in matrix settings. B. Reinforce top-down decision-making to reduce ambiguity. C. Define and communicate clear role expectations and accountability frameworks. D. Revert to the previous hierarchical model until a new plan is ready. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Matrix structures require clear roles, defined accountability, and robust communication to avoid confusion, according to ERM and Odd Theory E. G. Galbraith's star model successful matrix implementation hinges on clarity and collaboration. Political training A. Lacks structural focus, top-down decisions. B. Defeat the purpose of matrix models. Reverting D. Undermines progress. HR must enable organizational agility through design clarity. Question 26. The traditional approach to HR consultation has been top-down. However, Mr. LeBlanc wants to position HR as a change agent during a digital transformation initiative at his logistics firm. What is the most strategic consultation technique he should use? A. Recommend pre-approved HR solutions from previous transformation projects. B. Facilitate design thinking workshops to co-create solutions with employees. C. Deploy an employee-wide suggestion portal and wait for feedback. D. Distribute memos detailing new policies and procedures. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Design thinking is a user-centered collaborative consultation method that fosters innovation and engagement. SHRM's consultation competency promotes co-creation, empathy, and iteration. Critical during transformations. Option is rigid. Portals C. Lack strategic interaction. Memos D. Are informational, not consultative. Design thinking positions HR as solution architect, not just policymaker. Question 27. To better understand inclusion gaps, ISAWAD conducts a DI audit at a large technology firm. While representation metrics look balanced, feedback reveals that employees of color feel excluded from decision-making in innovation discussions. Which initiative is most likely to improve inclusion? A. Require unconscious bias training for executives. B. Launch cultural observance events and resource groups. C. Establish inclusive decision-making protocols in team processes. D. Hire a chief diversity officer to manage external partnerships. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Inclusion isn't only about representation, it's about shared influence and belonging, embedding inclusive decision-making, e.g. structured input mechanisms, consensus models, changes daily dynamic. SHRM's DI model emphasizes system-level inclusion, not just education or events. Training A. Raises awareness, but impact depends on action. Events B. A symbolic. Hiring CEO. D. without internal process change yields minimal structural change. Question 20. During the process of collective bargaining, the union representing production workers at Westbank demands guaranteed annual raises tied to inflation. The company is recovering from a fiscal deficit and cannot commit to guaranteed increases. What is the most appropriate counterproposal from the HR side? They offer profit-sharing bonuses contingent on company performance. B. Suggest eliminating raises altogether for 3 years. C. Counter with flat bonuses regardless of inflation or performance. D. Declare an impasse and initiate legal mediation. Answer. Correct answer A. Explanation our NRB principles support interest-based bargaining, not positional standoffs. Profit sharing aligns employee interests with business health and maintains flexibility. Option B is antagonistic. Flat bonuses. C. May fail to address cost of living concerns. Declaring impasse. D. Is premature and may breach good faith bargaining duties. The right move is a creative performance-linked incentive. Question 29. Despite the fact that Zeiss Corporation implemented structured interviews and AI-based screening tools, new hire failure rates remain high after 6 months. Mr. Fisher suspects a gap between hiring criteria and actual job demands. What should be the first corrective action? A. Review job descriptions and update them based on current success metrics. B. Replace the AI tool with recruiter-led screening for better human judgment. C. Increase probationary periods to allow for more evaluation time. D. Add cultural fit questions to the interview process. Answer. Correct answer A. Explanation. Effective selection begins with accurate, validated job descriptions aligned with actual success indicators. According to SHRM's talent acquisition best practices, poorly defined roles undermine hiring quality. Human screening B. May help but doesn't fix the root issue. Longer probation C. Only delays the mismatch. Cultural fit D. Is secondary to role alignment. Job analysis is the foundation of selection. Question 30. While it is true that training improves knowledge, Mr. Hartley finds that post-training behavior change at his firm is minimal. Supervisors say employees return from workshops motivated, but quickly revert to old habits. What is the best way to increase training transfer? They introduce knowledge checks and quizzes during training sessions. B. Link training content to performance management and on-the-job reinforcement. C. Provide completion certificates to boost participant motivation. D. Increase training length to ensure deeper content coverage. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Behavior change depends on transfer climate, not just training. Quality ARM recommends linking learning to ongoing performance feedback, coaching, and application opportunities. Knowledge checks A. Assess memory, not application. Certificates C. Offer symbolic motivation. Longer sessions D. May fatigue learners. The key is to embed learning into performance systems and real-world reinforcement.